Hi, and welcome to this quick tool review. This time around, we'll be taking a look at something that has annoyed me for years. And no, it's not specifically Dewalt tools. I think Dewalt makes very good tools. If you're a Milwaukee person or one of the other secondary tool manufacturers, it's really kind of sad to call them that because a lot of the other tool manufacturers make fine tools, but the big two are really Dewalt and Milwaukee. But there's also Skill, and there is Bosch, and Makita, the originator of the power screwdriver, and a bunch of other European ones like Festool, and they all make really good tools, but they all have one thing in common, and here's what they have in common. When you buy their system, you're stuck on their batteries, and their batteries are insanely expensive. Dewalt, for example, historically, if you buy a Dewalt tool that comes with a battery, and you use that tool for a year or two or three, and then the battery starts to go, it's almost cheaper, not quite, but almost cheaper to buy a whole new tool with battery than it is just to buy the battery, because they charge so much for aftermarket batteries. It's insane the markup they put on them. I know that inside these is typically Panasonic batteries, so they use high quality batteries, but there's no excuse for them being this expensive other than they've got you, right? So I found a third-party vendor that sells replacement batteries, and I thought I'd check them out because it's worth it for me and possibly worth it for you. So let's see what they offered. For evaluation, they sent me 5 of these tool holders, which are kind of unusual. They're specifically designed to clip into the bottom of your tool. You can screw that to a wall and have your tool hanging off the wall. So that's how you want to mount your tools, that's a good deal. It came with 5 of them. I don't know what these cost. They sent me the all-important replacement battery. Here's the 2 batteries side by side. This one has capacity, I think this is on the back. The Dewalt has capacity on the front. Same sort of connector where they actually tell you what's on each connector, B plus, B minus, and all the control signals. And this one has an LED on the front, which is different. The Dewalt is 5 amp hour. This one is 5.5 amp hour. The company we're talking about here is VANON batteries, V-A-N-O-N. This is a VANON battery. So we're going to take a look at this and see how they perform. Dewalt batteries are $50 to $60 each. In single quantities, the VANON battery for 5.5 amp hour is $33.99. $63.99 for 2, $91.99 for 3, $119.99 for 4 on their own website. They also make the smaller capacity packs, and they also do 12-volt packs. They also support Milwaukee and a bunch of other different brands if you want to check them out. Let's see if fit's the same. So here's a genuine Dewalt tool. The Dewalt battery pack has a very positive fit and an easy quick release. The replacement battery, very positive fit, easy quick release. Tiny bit of slop there. Same on the Dewalt. So fit and finish, pretty much identical. Here's an oddity for the light. So the light is not facing forward, it's facing backwards. You push and hold the battery indicator and the light goes on, which will be everything behind you. I guess you could turn the tool around. That's kind of odd. That's weird design choice. I would have put this on the back side and the light on the other side if I'd been thinking about it and I was designing it, but they chose this design. Dewalt batteries, from what I've seen on the other tear apart videos, use Panasonic batteries, which you know are high quality. So much like Dewalt's, it uses 8 LR1865 LA batteries. The battery pack looks really nicely made. 4 spot welds per cell for enhanced reliability. Temperature sensing and individual cell sensing or group of cell sensing. So it looks like there's temperature sensing and group of cell sensing with a nice heavy duty wire from the beginning and end of the pack. Here's the cell designation. Although it seems unlikely you'd ever do this, but you could service the battery pack if you wanted to. The pack does not have weather sealing on it, so it does not appear watertight. I don't know that any of them are. The individual cells are probably mostly sealed. For completeness, I thought I'd open the Dewalt as well. And of course, they use security Torx. They can't just use regular Torx. Surprisingly similar design, although they open from opposite sides from each other. These are Samsung cells. The DeWalt uses Samsung cells, not Panasonic. Interesting. I didn't even know Samsung was a big player in this market. Heavy duty. Individual block of cell. Pretty much identical all the way around, except this doesn't have the flashlight, which in the other one is not really in a useful space, so not particularly useful, but interesting. This one does not have weather seals either, which means water could get inside if you drop this in water. So if you're on a drop site and you drop either of these into a puddle, you might be SOL. One thing I noticed is the plastic seems to be a little bit cheaper on this. This may be fiber reinforced and this one not. I can't really tell. Just looking where it's worn here. I don't really see fibers, but this one sounds a lot more plasticky. This sounds a lot more solid. That's fairly minor quibble. So I guess what we have to see now is, are the capacities the same? So let's run a tool and measure the time it takes for the tool to run the battery to zero. Both these packs are fully charged. The other thing I'm going to test, which I won't be able to tell you now, is number of charge recharge cycles, because even if it's the same capacity, but it only, survives half the recharge cycles, it still may not be worth it. And that's something I can't tell easily. I don't have a battery exerciser, so I won't know if that's actually a problem or not till I've had it a while. They also sent me a charger to go with it. Presumably you could charge this on a DeWalt charger and it should work fine. This charger is good for a range of DeWalt batteries. It's good for the 12 to 20 volt batteries. I don't know if it does the 60s, but maybe those as well. They do warn you to only use batteries that it was designed for. And it did come with a manual, and of course it's made in China. One thing about Chinese batteries is that they are, I believe, the biggest manufacturer of batteries in the world. So I think China produces more cells than any other country in the world. The tool I think I'm going to choose to test these and how well they work is going to be this blower, which is unfortunately pretty loud. And I have a feeling these things will run it for like an hour. I don't know how many amps this draws, but I suspect it's reasonably high. Fans can be pretty high current draw devices. So we'll start with the DeWalt fully charged, see how long this runs. Do the same with this pack and compare. All right, so the DeWalt battery took 16 minutes and 31 seconds to completely discharge. It's pretty warm too, yeah. Woo, toasty. Next victim. All right, so I tried to do the test here with this guy, and at about 3 minutes, it's still running, but at about 3 minutes, it shut off. And I think the reason it shut off, I think the battery got too hot. I mean, it killed this 5 amp hour battery in just a few, 15 minutes less, which is crazy. And so maybe the thermal protection's kicking in on this guy. So what I'm going to do, it's not going to be a fair test, but I'm going to put this on lower speed, which will draw less current, and we'll see how that works out. So again, this guy shut off. It is fully charged, and it doesn't feel, at least on the outside, overly warm, but it looks like it went into thermal protection because all you have to do is pull the load away from it and then re-engage, and it resets. So even at the lower speed, it only ran for about a minute before it shut off. Yeah, didn't even get a minute. And you can start it again just by removing the load. Seems to run the drill motor no problem. All right, well, the end result is this thing works on the drill motor for an extended period of time. I didn't load the drill motor, which would have been much higher current, and maybe I'd have the same problem. This guy can put out high current for like 16 minutes and not shut itself off. It actually took the battery all the way down to 0. As you can see here, it's just one light barely lit. This guy is fully charged still, and shuts off after a minute under the high load circumstances. So what I think is the circuitry that detects current overload is a little too aggressively set in this guy. And so you can't get the high current output. So if you're doing low current operations or intermittent, it might be fine, but for long term, definitely not fine. And it's not exactly the circuitry like instantaneous current. It is, this ran for a minute and 30 seconds before it turned off. That's a different problem. So that's sort of a temperature sensing problem. In any case, I got to give this guy a thumbs down. I can't recommend this at this time. Maybe I only got a sample of one, but maybe I got a dud battery. I don't know. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.